Sinixt. Hello, my relatives. My name is Yvonne Swan, and I'm from Washington State. My mother's Lucy Seymour Swan was Sinixt Arrow Lakes, originally from British Columbia. And when they built the border, when gold was depleted in California in the 1800s, gold was discovered on my mother's land. And so that brought a bunch of people that killed a lot of my ancestors and scattered them. So we were pushed down and prevented from going home because of the border. So I was raised on the Colville Indian Reservation in Northeast Washington State. My father, Theodore Joseph Swan, was born in Montana, and his people were also displaced. He was with the Chief Little Shell Band. His mother was Ojibwa and Assiniboine. So I learned about racism at 8 years old. I was in boarding school, and I got out of school because doctors found out I had polio. And so I was at the doctor's office one day, and my mom was sitting here, and a Shichu woman was sitting here with her little daughter. My mother had beautiful brown skin. She was very opposite of me. I'm really forward, but she was really reserved. But the little girl walked over and looked at my mom and asked her mother, "Why is she so dirty?" And I jumped like that. I don't know what I was going to do at 8 years old, but I saw that right away. My mom goes, "It's just what I just did." So I had to maintain. So from that day forward, I've been against racism. And I went to finished boarding school after 5 years. Because I missed religion, the nuns held me back a year. Anyway, I ended up, what Bill said about relocation, I ended up in San Francisco in 1966. In 1967, my little 3-year-old daughter passed away, so I went home. And I dealt with that for a long time, and kind of lost. Moved away from the Catholic Church, went to find my friends, and the best place to find my friends was in the bars most of the time. Tried to get over my sorrow by having a good time with my friends. And I ended up in court, as most of you know. I was convicted in 1973 of second-degree murder and first-degree assault and use of a deadly weapon. That's a law in the state of Washington, or during the commission of a crime, if you use a weapon, that's another charge, which carries a 5-year mandatory sentence. So I was facing 25 years in prison for shooting a man who was known to be a child molester. My defense was fear, because I felt anybody who could hurt a child was capable of anything. And at the time when he entered into the home of my babysitter at 5 o'clock in the morning and scared everybody, including myself, situation happened and I ended up in court. I believed, I was 28 years old, young. I believed jury would understand my fear. The prosecutor used racism and sexism and used my voice on a police tape to get me convicted by 7 women and 5 men. So I was sentenced to 25 years, went to on appeal. In that time, in 1973, in early February, before Wounded Knee took place, my sister told me, we lived in Spokane, and my sister told me, Yvonne, there's an Indian Awareness Week going on at Eastern Washington University in Cheney. And there's a Sioux gonna come and sing some country songs, and let's go, you know. And I was all hungover, I didn't want to go. I didn't want to start drinking again, you know. Come on. She called my sister. They both brought me out there. And that's how I met Floyd Red Crow Westerman. And he asked me, what do? You know, are you working or you go to school or what? You know, I can't do anything because I have to go to court. What for? So I told him, and you know, he said, I can't believe you can laugh when you're facing all this heavy stuff. Well, crying doesn't help. It's like having a baby, you know, you can't help it. You know, laughter is the best medicine at the time. So he was the one who saw the connection of racism against Indian people, and he knew all the AIM people, and right away he got all of the American Indian movement support. When I was in San Francisco, I met your twin brother through Leneda. Yeah. And Leneda and I continued our friendship. I still connect with her today. So through Floyd, I met you and your brother Russ, Days, Ted, Madonna, Lorelei, all of you. You're like my family. It's like coming back to see my relatives. So then AIM had me speak at Missoula, Montana at the university to tell my story. Because when I was convicted on Mother's Day, 1973, that made me angry. They can't do this to me. So I told my sisters, we gotta do something. They're gonna put me in prison and take my kids away. We're artists, what can we do? I got it. Let's have fashion shows. So that's what we did. I couldn't talk before a crowd. I'd get what you call vapor lock. I took speech in high school, but that didn't help. So my sister, very smart, handed me the cards, the commentary cards from the girls our nieces would dance on the runway. Dance and model clothes to the songs of Exit, Paul Ortega. So I got over my shyness. And Buffy St. Marie heard my story at Missoula, and she met me backstage, and she scribbled out a check, and she said, go down to Los Angeles, meet my publicist, Karen Shearer, and she'll help you. Buffy got all the women's support from here to Europe. I found my family, and I am so proud and so energized, re-energized on this trip. So I thank the angel donor who got me a plane ticket here. While I'm still here on Mother Earth, I want to tell all that I learned during the 12 years that I fought for my freedom. Initially, right after the shooting in Spokane, Washington, I went to jail. I did 3 years. So if you want something, make up your mind you're going to get it. You think positive, all your energy, your power goes there. So, might not happen overnight. It took me 12 years. So I only did 12 years. I only did 3 days. Leonard Crow Dog, I met him. He was at Wounded Knee, right? I met him through AIM, through Steve Robidoux, Rocky Duenas, and he helped me with ceremonies. And the people had I learned so much about our way of life and our belief. I didn't need anything from the Catholic religion. All they did was make a rebel out of me at boarding school. So that's how I stayed out. But I told my sisters, in one word, that's how I got through it all. I was stubborn. I was stubborn because Creator gave me the ability to have children, and I asked the Creator, you have to help me keep my children, keep them away from me so I can be with my children. They took them away once when I went to school in San Francisco because of a Suyapi woman. So anyway, that's all the people that helped me. I was so happy to know that Assiniboine was Sioux. I didn't even know that. Well, now I know how the language comes easy for me. My language, my interior language is more difficult. So in my language, I want to tell you all, thank you for your help.